Good Friday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's weather forecast, we are going to be going over a huge cool down that's going to be coming next week. And what that's going to do is that's going to bring a lot of temperatures back down into the 30s and 40s for the lows across much of the eastern United States. But highs will also be on the chillier side of things too as well, especially farther to the north where 40s and 50s for highs are certainly possible. So definitely going to be a huge notice as we head into next week. So make sure you're dressing up warm and all ready for that. And we'll also be going over what we could see this winter once again. Not my winter forecast, but we're going to be looking at models to see what they think this winter could be. And that's really just considered a winter update. But if you are new here to the YouTube channel, or if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to go down below and click that subscribe button. I do appreciate you guys continuing to be subscribing to my YouTube channel, but if you guys will keep subscribing, that would be great. So make sure to go down below and click that subscribe button. Also, please give this video a thumbs up too as well. Those help out more than you know. And of course, leave any questions, comments, or concerns down below that you guys have. So make sure to do all that, and we will go ahead and get right in today's video. So let's first go ahead and start on a huge Arctic blast that's going to be coming next week. We're using the GFS model, by the way. I know I didn't write it down here, but we're using the GFS model, and this is showing a big area of cold air surging on down into the eastern and parts of the central United States next week, and that does continue to get bigger as we head later into next week, and maybe even the week after next week, where huge area of cold air will just continue to stick around across those areas. So definitely going to continue to be on the cooler side of things throughout next week and even into next week perhaps. So definitely get ready for that, as we will still continue to see well below average temperatures across much of the eastern United States, but especially the Ohio Valley and deep south, where we could even be seeing temperatures 16 degrees below average, especially Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia. All those areas could definitely see well below average temperatures, so definitely get ready for that. Now let's go ahead and continue to head a little bit farther out into October, just to give us a good idea on what we could see with more of this cold air that's surging on in. And as you guys can see, a lot of this cold air is trying to surge on in out from the west, and that's trying to push all this warm air away. And look what happens, guys, as we see both that cold air and that warm air colliding with each other. Boom, we see a huge line of storms form as we head into October 20th. Both warm air and cold air colliding with each other does create energy or even instability, and that, is really helpful to create thunderstorms, and that's exactly why we could even be concerned about some minor threat of severe weather by the time we head into October 20th, which is also when those temperatures will be colliding with each other. So definitely, get ready for something like this by the end of October. Now this is, already pretty far out, so obviously not a complete guarantee, but this isn't extremely far out though, because we're only looking about 10 days out from now, so there is still a possibility something like this could happen by the end of October, but like I said, obviously not a guarantee, so I probably would recommend still taking this with a grain of salt. Let's now go ahead and head a little bit farther. Let's go ahead and look at October 24th, which is just a few days away from October 20th, which is what we just looked at, and this setup is a little bit different, okay? This showed warm, moist air surging on in from the Gulf of Mexico, with warm air coming on in from the central United States, and as those two air masses collide with each other, boom, we see a huge storm system form on October 24th, and this one could be much bigger, guys. And whenever we're talking something like this, we could maybe even be talking a slightly higher severe storm threat, as you know, we do head into October 24th, or this could just be widespread rain and heavy rain across much of the Great Lakes, Ohio River Valley, and as well as into the Dixie Alley area. But for what I can see, if you know that warm moist air is really surging on in from the Gulf of Mexico, with that cold air colliding with it, that could really set up a huge active pattern, and of course a pretty, high severe weather threat by the time we head into October. And like I said, this is probably about extremely far out now, so I would, recommend taking this, not very seriously as of right now. And like I said, you should even take this with a grain of salt still, as we are looking quite far out now. But like I said, there's still a chance we could definitely see, a pretty active pattern by the time we head into the end of October. So we should definitely, be ready for something like that, as we are already in the second severe weather season of the year. So don't be surprised to even see severe weather next month, as we will likely see rounds of thunderstorms. So definitely, be ready for the second severe weather season by testing your guys' alarms, especially those red weather radios. And it's also best to make sure you have a First Alert Weather app with you and make sure it's working. All that is great to do this time of year too as well, because it's fall. This is also when we kind of deal with surges of both warm and cold temperatures, and that's why we also have a lot of severe weather this time of year too as well, is because we still both deal with warm and cold air during the fall, where it starts out warm and then it cools down. And same with spring, just gonna start out an opposite way, where it starts cool and then it gets warmer. So like I said, we are still going to be dealing with warm and cold temperatures during the fall, so that's the reason why it's probably a really good time of year to get prepared as of right now, before things may start to ramp up next month. Let's now go ahead and give you guys a winter update on what we could be talking about this winter. And like I said, we're going to be using the models, but before we take a look at the models, let's look at what we could see by taking a look at what NOAA thinks this winter could be like. And this is for December through February, and this shows that well above average temperatures are likely across the southern United States, including the Dixie Alley area back into the southern plains, while slightly below average temperatures are possible across the upper Rocky Mountains. But I do think that could extend more down into the Ohio Valley, because I don't really think we're going to even be slightly above average for Ohio. They're in an area where that cold air can surge in easily, just depending on what's happening. But Ohio is really far to the north and even considered part of the Great Lakes, so I just don't think they're gonna see that warm of temperatures. But it's just up to NOAA on what they think. That, like I said, is just what NOAA thinks. It doesn't mean it's gonna be right or wrong. It's just a prediction, and I do kind of agree a little bit more with the precipitation than the temperatures, just to be exact, because with the temperatures we do expect there to be above average precipitation across the Northwest. I do think there's a chance that precipitation could be, even more above average across the Ohio Valley, including Ohio, Indiana, back into Kentucky, and maybe even as far west as Illinois. So that's definitely going to be one area to be keeping an eye on this winter. But we also will need to be watching the southern United States for maybe some droughts to develop. I don't think it will be 100% dry, but it will definitely be drier than normal in some ways. Let's now go ahead and take a look at at them all, starting off with December. This is the CFS model, another, climate long-range forecast model, and this is saying that we'll see above average precipitation across both the Rocky Mountains and as well as Ohio Valley for December. So that's why we are gonna, continue to keep an eye on it closely. So, we should definitely watch December closely, as above average precipitation is definitely going to be likely. A little bit below average precipitation does start to pop up across Dixie Alley in the southeast, which makes sense because we are expecting below average precipitation in those areas, especially as La Nina starts to ramp up, and then shows a little bit below average across the northwest, but that should start to ramp up as we do take a look at January, where we start to see both the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, and even the Rocky Mountains really start to see well above average precipitation across both of those areas. And like I said, in the northwest should even start to see more of that by the time we head into January, but it's especially going to be the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley where we really start to see that ramp up even more. And then by the time we head into February, above average precipitation may be a little bit less of a concern across the Ohio Valley because it's not showing as dark of a green color, but really does show that across the northwest now, and even parts of the western coast of British Columbia right there. So definitely interesting how this could start a little bit dry, the first couple of months of winter, and then finally start to ramp up by the end of winter across, like I said, the western coast of British Columbia and perhaps Washington. Let's now go ahead and take a look at March. March is looking very active, and now this is also when we start to see a lot of that severe weather start to occur, and some of March is part of winter, and that's why we're taking a look at March, but March does remain the most uncertain as it is still the most far out, but we do expect there to be above average precipitation still likely continuing across the northwest and perhaps the Great Lakes and Ohio River Valley, so we are going to be watching these areas closely for still some very well above average precipitation. But thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy today's weather forecast. It was kind of fun looking that far out, as we are still pretty concerned about how this winter, may play out, but it sounds like we still do have good agreement on where we're going to be seeing above and below average precipitation, while, the temperature still remains uncertain to me, because I still do think we could really be seeing those temperatures get more below across the Ohio Valley at times this winter, but we will keep an eye on it, just because it is gonna, still be something to keep an eye on, and of course it still remains uncertain still, but like I said, we will continue to keep an eye on it, and best thing to do to stay tuned for more updates like that is to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You guys haven't subscribed already, and about 80% of you guys have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, so make sure to go down below and click that subscribe button, and I would like to try to get up to 600 subscribers before the end of this year, so please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that would be great. And don't forget to click that like button too as well, because that does help out more than you know. And of course, make sure to leave any questions, comments, or concerns. It can be about this winter, it can be about the second severe weather season that we're already in, or it can even be about fall. So just whatever you want to leave down below, feel free to leave that, as long as it's respectful. And I hope you guys all have a great weekend.